Juba has rejected the inclusion of Nepalese and Bangladeshi peacekeepers to the force. A presidential security advisor in the country says that's not according to what was agreed. The head of UN peacekeeping operations last week said the deployment will take place in a matter of weeks. But this latest rejection from South Sudan will no doubt delay this once again. According to the agreement, 4,000 peacekeepers from the region are meant to deploy in Juba to maintain security. Well, earlier we spoke to the head of the United Nations mission in South Sudan, David Shearer, about the deployment of peacekeepers in Juba.
We have to be very clear about how this came about. I mean, the peacekeeping force that makes up the RPF was intended to be drawn from Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Kenya. There was some capabilities that were missing, so for that reason, for example, the Bangladeshis are coming in to do the road works and the engineering. I mean, there wasn't a capability in the region for that. So, and both the Bangladeshis and the Nepalese, who are to come in to fill those capabilities, have already got their clearances. So I'm unsure why this issue has come up, because we're already well down the track and there hasn't been a problem till now. For a lot of people, this is important because they'll have more confidence that the stability. And so for many South Sudanese, they are wanting the peacekeepers, the extra peacekeepers to arrive. The extra peacekeepers also give us an increased capability. So a few years ago, when the peacekeepers first arrived here, there was no conflict in the Equatorias in the south. Now there's many people have fled that area because of conflict. It gives us a flexibility to be able to, for example, position more peacekeepers in those areas of conflict, for example, in the south.
Well, for more on South Sudan's peacekeeping efforts and what the position of the United Nations is, we're joined once more by Liling Tan in New York. Liling, thanks for staying with us. Now, we just heard there David Shearer of the UN saying that these Nepalese and Bangladeshi troops are being brought in to address particular capabilities. But considering South Sudan's reaction, do you think the UN is likely to reconsider the composition of troops to be deployed?
Well, at this point, that remains quite unclear. We just heard, of course, from the envoy there, David Shearer, who said he himself is unsure about what this means. So that also means I can't shed more light on this. But what we do know is this rejection from the South Sudanese government is over concerns that this regional protection force may be undermining sovereignty, would be viewed, or rather is being viewed, as international interference in South Sudan's political affairs, South Sudan's affairs, broadly speaking. So that's what's behind this rejection. And it's not a new stance from South Sudan either. For a long time, they've agreed to, disagreed to, delayed this deployment of the protection force. And what they're doing now, it's being perceived to an extent as another delaying tactic.
And as you say, this is not the first time we're seeing this. In fact, it's a repeat of something we've seen quite a lot. What do you think then, or at least how does the UN view these delayed tactics in terms of what the underlying issues may be?
Well, the UN views this with great frustration. Of course, this, as we recall, the agreement for this deployment was made last year, and there have been delays over the actual deployment. And now when we actually have a sense or a rough timetable about when that first deployment would occur, it seems there's very likely going to be another delay. And a lot of what's been behind this is the concern from South Sudan that this is international interference, and that certain parts of their mandate, of the plans for this force, include that of protecting the Juba International Airport, which is something that the South Sudanese government is very much against now, because it says that it threatens the country's sovereignty.
All right, well, we'll keep watching developments there. Thank you very much, Liling Tan, joining us live from New York.